Ain't no other like we, running things so easy. Cross the country like me, that's you, that's me, that's we, that's we. Ain't no other like we, running things so easy. Cross the country like me, that's you, that's me, that's we, that's we. I'm a diamond, one of a kind, cut 10 face like a Gemini. High shine when I'm in the light, catch a knife, I'm in a different climate. I'm a diamond, one of a kind, cut 10 face like a Gemini. High shine when I'm in the light, catch a knife, I'm in a different climate. Ain't no other like we, running things so easy. Cross the country like ski, that's you, that's me, that's we, that's we. Ain't no
Hi everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to our Daxxify and RHA virtual event. My name is Melanie Reynolds and I'm an aesthetic nurse practitioner and injector here at Empire Aesthetic Center. With me is my fellow injector and aesthetic nurse, Chelsea Maloney, and we will be joined in a few minutes by our oculofacial plastic surgeon, Dr. Chahal, for our live Q&A session. So make sure you stick around and submit your questions via the questions tab.
Over the next few minutes, Melanie and I will share everything you need to know about the revolutionary new wrinkle relaxer, Daxxify, and the RHA collection of dermal fillers, and we will bring you inside the treatment room as we perform a consultation and a treatment.
And don't forget about our fabulous giveaway and event-exclusive special. We're giving away a forehead treatment with Daxxify and 2 syringes of RHA filler. The 3 lucky winners will be notified by email tomorrow, so keep an eye out to see if you won. And if you're ready to try Daxxify and the RHA collection for yourself, we have an exclusive offer just for you. Buy 1 syringe of RHA filler and get 40 units of Daxxify free, or buy 2 syringes of RHA filler and you'll get 80 units free. That's a savings of up to $920, but you have to call our office by July 21st if you'd like to take advantage of this great special.
Okay, let's get started.
Daxxify is the newest FDA-approved injectable neuromodulator on the market, and we were very excited to start offering it to our patients earlier this year. It uses the same active ingredient as other wrinkle relaxers, botulinum toxin type A, but it is formulated with a novel peptide that gives it some unique advantages. First and foremost, it is the longest-lasting wrinkle relaxer available right now. On average, Daxxify results last 6 months, so about twice the longevity of traditional wrinkle relaxers. This means fewer injection appointments are needed to maintain your results. Another thing that's unique to Daxxify is that it doesn't contain any human or animal byproducts, so it's completely vegan. Lastly, Daxxify is the only neuromodulator made in the USA, and it's actually manufactured right here in California.
Daxxify is used to treat dynamic wrinkles on the face, so wrinkles caused by movement of certain facial muscles. Specifically, it's approved to treat those frown lines, those pesky 11s on your glabella. We can also treat other areas like forehead wrinkles, as well as laugh lines or crow's feet around the eyes, and the lower face and neck. Any area you are currently being treated, we can treat with Daxi.
A good candidate for Daxxify is anybody who would like to soften and smooth those dynamic lines created by muscle movement and hoping for a longer lasting result. This could be your first time trying wrinkle relaxers, or maybe you've tried other neuromodulators before and are noticing that your results are not lasting as long as you would like. Because of the longevity of the results, Daxxify is great for people with a busy lifestyle who would like to have fewer treatments throughout the year to maintain their results.
You may begin to see some softening in your dynamic lines within 1 to 2 days after your Daxxify treatment, and most patients experience the full results within 3 weeks. Thanks to Daxxify's unique formulation, most patients' results last on an average of 6 months, so they're able to maintain that wrinkle smoothing effect with just 2 treatments per year instead of having to come every 90 days.
The RHA collection of dermal fillers is an advanced line of injectable fillers that are specifically designed to address facial wrinkles, lines, and folds. They are a great complement to treatment with Daxxify because they can be used to add volume and help soften and smooth wrinkles and folds in the lower region of the face. RHA stands for resilient hyaluronic acid, which is the key ingredient in these fillers. Hyaluronic acid is a naturally occurring substance in our skin that provides hydration, volume, and elasticity. These fillers are called resilient because they are specifically formulated to more closely mimic our natural hyaluronic acid, which makes them great for areas of the face with a lot of movement and expression, like around the mouth to treat marionette lines, nasolabial folds, and perioral rhytids. The RHA collection is designed to withstand the stresses and strains of facial animation, giving you a smoother and more youthful appearance without looking stiff or unnatural. It's like having a filler that moves and behaves just like your own skin. The RHA collection comes in 4 formulations, which allows us to treat different areas and depths so that we can tailor your treatment to your unique concerns and goals. The great thing about dermal fillers is that we get to see those immediate results after the treatment, although it usually takes about 2 weeks for the filler to fully integrate with the tissue. Another great thing about the RHA collection is its longevity. Because it's formulated to move with your face, it integrates seamlessly into your skin and breaks down more gradually. This means you can enjoy your results between 10 to 15 months with a more even and subtle fading over time.
So we're here today with my lovely patient, Stephanie. We're going to be doing a Daxxify treatment on her today. So in the past, she has not been treated with Daxxify. This is going to be her first treatment, but she has had some other neurotoxin in the past. So tell us what you've been treated with in the past.
I've had Botox.
Okay. And typically about how long does your Botox last for you?
About 4 to 6 months.
Okay, so that's a really good duration. So with Daxxify, we can expect double the duration of what you've had in the past. So you should get about 6 to 9 months the duration with this Daxxify. Okay, and so let's go ahead and take a look at the mirror, and then we'll just talk about some of the areas of concern today. So go ahead and I'll have you raise your brows. Okay, and then I'll have you furrow them to the middle, and then I'll have you smile real big. All right, and then go ahead and scrunch your nose, make the little bunny lines. Perfect. And then I'll have you pout your bottom lip out as well. Perfect. So those are some of the areas that I see. What are some areas that concern you the most?
Definitely my forehead and my bunny lines.
Okay.
And these lovely little lines.
Little
right here.
crow's feet, okay,
Yeah.
on the side. Okay, great. So we can definitely treat those with Daxxify. So we'll go ahead and get started on your treatment. I'll take this from you, and I'm just gonna clean you off and make some markings, okay? Okay, so we just finished your treatment. We ended up doing a total of 136 units for you today. The dosage does work a little bit differently than like Botox or Dysport units. It's not always double, but somewhere around that amount. So you can expect to not need another treatment though for another 6 to 9 months, which is a nice feature of Daxxify. Okay, so that was our Daxxify treatment. Thank you for tuning in. Up next, we'll have Melanie with some RHA filler.
Hey everyone, I'm here with my patient Valentina today, and we actually have already done a full face Daxxify treatment, and today we're going to be talking about the RHA filler. So Valentina, I want you to share with me your areas of concern and what bothers you when you look in the mirror.
So the nasolabial folds here and then right in through here is my area of concern today.
Which is really common. I mean, we have a lot of patients that come in and this is an area that they want to be treated, and the RHA filler is a beautiful way to address those. I would argue, or not argue, but share with you that these folds are a symptom of the lateral part of the face falling forward. So I also think it would be beautiful to give some lateral cheek filler to kind of help give this illusion of a lift here. And today I think it would be nice to maybe focus through here on what's bothering you the most, but I also think in a separate visit we should come back and we should do the cheeks as well.
I totally trust you.
Okay. So I'm going to be injecting your filler mostly with a cannula today.
Okay.
Cannula is actually blunt at the end, meaning it's not sharp like a needle, so it's less likely to break through a blood vessel. It's a beautiful way to lay down the filler in the nasolabial fold. It's a little bit safer, less likely to create a bruise. I will make an initial poke down in this area, so you'll feel that first, and then the cannula after that will kind of glide through to lay the filler in the area. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
I was using the RHA 3 filler, which I really like for the fluidity of what it gives and stretchability, maintaining its strength and motion around the patient's mouth. When they talk, laugh, and eat, they maintain a naturalness. I'm switching to an RHA 4, which is great in the RHA line of fillers, that there's different variability for me to have options for what I'm trying to achieve. The RHA 4 will give me great on-bone projection for a couple of different areas for a different effect.
Wow.
You like it?
I do. I love it.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
So we did 3 syringes in total. We did the RHA 3 between the nasolabial folds and the melamental folds or marionette lines. And then we did the RHA 4 for the chin and jawline to give a little bit more definition of that jawline. So the face comes down. We want to kind of define that as much as we can. And then we're going to come back and we're going to do some cheeks to give a little bit of that lifting effect for the face.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us this evening. We hope you were able to learn a few things about Daxxify and RHA. Please stick around for our live Q&A, which is up next. You can submit your questions now in the questions tab, and we'll answer them in just a few moments.
Remember that our giveaway winners will be notified by email tomorrow. And don't forget to take advantage of our event-only special. Buy 1 syringe of RHA filler and get 40 units of Daxxify free, or buy 2 syringes of RHA filler and get 80 units of Daxxify free. This offer ends on July 21st, so keep an eye out for the text message after this event and reply yes if you'd like us to get in touch with you about a consultation or an appointment. We'll see you live in a few moments.
Hey everyone, hope you actually learned something from all of that. We're going to answer some questions, so we're going to jump right in because I think we already kind of shared everything that we felt like we needed to share. But I think you maybe know us. If not, I'm Melanie Reynolds. I'm a nurse practitioner here at Empire Aesthetic Center.
Dr. Chahal, oculofacial plastic surgeon.
Chelsea Maloney, RN.
And I'm going to jump into the first question that we have. So what makes Daxxify different from Botox or Dysport? I think the key difference is going to be the longevity of the treatment. So it's going to be about double the duration of what you're typically used to with your Dysport and Botox treatments. That's the number one most important difference. I mean, I think most patients are looking for, but there are some other important things to note. It has a peptide that surrounds the neurotoxin that allows it to give it that longer duration. And it doesn't use any human serum albumin. So it's the vegan, as we mentioned in the video, it's the only one that we could say is vegan and made in the USA. So I also think those are important things to note as well. Do we have any other questions? Let's see. Can you scroll for me? Thank you. You want to answer that one?
Yeah, so we have a question about how many areas can I get RHA filler in one appointment? So that's really going to be tailored to sort of how much volume we think you need and according to your areas of treatment. For example, you could treat your temples, nasolabial folds, tear troughs, cheeks, all in the same session if you wanted. So part of it's going to be determined by the amount of volume we think you need, and of course, sort of financial constraints, and then how much we think is reasonable to do it one time. In some cases, it's better to sculpt slowly, and in some cases, it's very safe to add a lot of volume all at once. So that's a question that's best answered in person after we evaluate your face.
Okay, and then our next question is, how many areas can I get RHA filler in? Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
next one.
One below it.
Skipped. There we go.
How much longer?
It's like, that sounds familiar. Okay. How much longer should I expect with Daxxify to last? So, Daxxify, it is saying that it's going to last about 6 to 9 months, but typically it's going to be double the duration of whatever toxin you've been getting. So, if you've been getting Dysport and it's been lasting you 3 months, you can expect Daxxify to last you about 6 months.
I think there's something important to note here too. So any neurotoxin that's been on the market, we like to say like Dysport and Botox would last you 3 months. Well, they don't kick in, stay in effect for 3 months and then drop off. They have a curvature. After they kick in, they start to drop off over a 3-month period. So you start to have some return to movement before you get back to baseline. This is going to be a little bit more stretched out. And some patients prefer that because they prefer to have a little bit of movement, raising of the brows, where the beginning of the treatment, where it's the most frozen, might not be ideal for them. So this would be a great treatment because that little bit of return to movement, not return to baseline, let's clarify the two, but a little bit of movement coming back is going to last for a little bit longer. Some areas we're going to expect to see that, which is very typical with Botox and Dysport as well. The forehead, around the eyes, we know that that movement, lower face, we know that movement's going to come back a little bit quicker in the sense of, again, a slow return to movement. The glabella area is going to be one, just like with Dysport and Botox, last the longest. For those patients that are coming in at 2.5 months saying, hey, I have movement, I'm ready for treatment again, and we're looking at them like, no, we would qualify as movement, or it's okay. Yeah, sure, we can do some, but you're not at baseline, and you prefer a more frozen look, and that's totally acceptable as your prerogative. This might not be the best treatment, or we might want to touch up and retreat certain areas in the middle of that 6 to 9 month period, because those areas, or some areas, particularly the forehead, just like with Dysport and Botox, are going to come back a little bit sooner. Again, not to baseline, but back to some movement.
I'm going to give this one to you, Chelsea, but we have a question here that says, can you have both treatments at the same time? And I'll add this one as well. Does it help with headaches?
Okay, well, you can get both treatments at the same time. We would probably come in and do your filler first, and then we'll finish off and give you some Daxxify. With headaches, I'll throw that one to you because you're the headache queen over there.
All right. So yes, like with Dysport and Botox, the same benefit that you would get for your headaches is you're going to see the same benefit. There haven't been studies that I'm aware of to suggest that they get a longer lasting duration. I think if we are thinking about the impact of what Dysport and Botox do for headaches, this is doing the same. And the way the peptide is working to release the neurotoxin in the system and in the muscles, theoretically, you should have a longer duration for your headaches. If there's a question of insurance coverage, no, insurance coverage, unfortunately, is not covering Daxxify at this time. But for patients who are cash pay patients for their headaches and notice a significant improvement, yeah, you should experience a longer improvement in your reduction of headaches. And the areas that we treat are identical. So the way that we do the injections are the same. If we would treat you however I would poke you or stab you with a needle with Dysport is exactly how I would do Daxxify. And same with the RHA filler. There might be some finer differences in how I choose to use the filler or which filler I choose to use. We have a wide variety of fillers that we carry in this practice, and it's like having different paintbrushes or different tools in our tool chest. And when you come in, it's a conversation about what is it that you want to achieve, what are our goals, and what do you look like? Because the same conversation we might all have the same areas we want treated for the three of us sitting down, but we might choose different paintbrushes to get there. So we have lots of tools and lots of ways that we can do that.
Interesting question here, which I think might get a little technical, but I'll ask you this one as well. Melanie,
Okay.
What is it about Daxxify that makes it last longer?
Okay, so this is kind of a technical question, and I hope that I can answer it in a way that makes sense. I'm going to start with the traditional. So traditional Dysport and Botox, the way after we've injected it, just kind of washes into the area. The cells in our body, it'll attach to our muscles, essentially, in a layman's terms, and it'll pull the neurotoxin into the cell. It'll pull however much in that it can, and a lot of it is washed away. With Daxxify, they have encased that same neurotoxin. It's the same one that we use for Botox and Dysport. What's different is it's encased with a peptide. That peptide is negatively charged, and the cells in our body are positively charged. And maybe I got that backwards. I can't quite remember, but there's a positive negative charge, and we know that positives and negatives attract. So one of them is going to be positive, and the negative is, well, again, if I have that the correct way, the cells are pulling more of the peptide in because there's that positive negative attraction. So now more neurotoxin has actually gone into the cells in our body, as opposed to just a little bit and the rest of it being washed away. Now, with more cells in the body over a longer period of time, it continues to cleave, like picture a cleaver, literally cleave the synapses that are allowing our muscles to send firing signals that create movement.
I think it's also worth mentioning that because the different neuromodulator medicines have different units, that can sometimes be confusing for not just providers, but for the patients as well. So it is worth mentioning that the unit scales are slightly different for all these medicines. So that's something to keep in mind, to not get so fixated on the exact number of units, because that'll vary depending on what medicine is being used.
Yes, that's true. So the number of units seems higher when we look at just the number of units for Daxxify. Our pricing will look lower per unit, but that can be misleading. We're not trying to be misleading. Come in for a consultation. We'll explain it very well. We'll tell you what the total out-of-pocket price, because that's what's important. It's not so much about amount of units, but how much are we paying at checkout, is going to be about double. So regardless of number of units that we're using, it's about double. And that's just because it's double the duration. The way that they've chosen to do their units, while it can be confusing, it makes sense to us, and that's probably the most important thing that matters. What's also important to note, though, is that in those units, it's actually the same amount of core neurotoxin that's going in. So in this amount of units of Botox to Dysport to Daxxify, it's the same amount of units that's giving you that double the duration. It's not like we've doubled the amount of neurotoxin to get that. We've given you the same neurotoxin. The units sound double, but that's just a conversion thing that becomes a math issue. And if you're not very good at math, don't try to figure it out. Just have a little bit of faith and trust us.
A couple additional questions here that I think we can all group together. Can you use Daxxify in the lips? Can you use it for a lip flip? And would it work elsewhere in the body, for example, your hands? So just like Melanie and Chelsea were saying earlier, all of the neuromodulating medicines work similarly. And so you can use them for all the same applications and in all the same places, which includes the lips and the hands and anywhere else you would use any of the neuromodulators you're familiar with, such as Dysport and Botox.
Mm-hmm. And the lip flip has been beautiful. Our patients that have done it this is an area that traditionally doesn't last as long. And with Daxxify, we have noticed a double the duration. Now, we're not going to get 6 months out of it, but we're not getting 3 months out of it with Dysport either. We don't want to try to get 3 months because you won't be able to speak for 2 of those. So we know it's an area that's not going to last as long. It's an acceptable risk. It's okay to come in more frequently, but we have seen double the duration with that. If you are typically getting 4 weeks and you're getting 8 weeks, or 6, you're getting 12. So it has been a really great thing for the lip flip. And the RHA fillers, yes, as far as the hands question, that would be more RHA filler versus Daxxify. It can be used anywhere that we would traditionally put fillers that we currently carry in our practice. Lip filler, cheeks, hands, anywhere. Honestly, they're the same. We would just decide with you and with ourselves what are our goals, what are we trying to achieve, and then we'll go pick the right tool out of the cabinet.
I have an interesting question here too, and so I'll put this to both of you actually, since the question is, have you guys tried it yourselves, and how long did it take to take effect? I've not tried it, but I will pass that on.
We both have. We injected each other first. Is that true? Did I inject a patient before we injected each other?
I think so, because I was on vacation.
You were on vacation. I was really upset with her.
Yeah.
Like, awful time to go on a cruise.
I had to go on a cruise with completely nothing in my face.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I'll give her that. So yes, we have both been injected with Daxxify. I think my forehead looks pretty good to me. I like it.
Yeah.
How long did it take to take effect? That's a very good question. It is something that I have noticed a quicker effect for most patients, not all. Where one of the things I prefer about Dysport, if we're being frank, is that it does kick in quicker in my experience than Botox. And I would classify Daxxify like Dysport and how quickly it kicks in. Some patients have noticed results in as early as 24 hours, but at full results, this is where it's a little bit different, up to 3 weeks. So if we have an event or something that we're planning for, we would want to give a full 3 weeks between treatments. Usually we say 2 weeks, but there can be subtle changes between that second and third week that can be important when you're getting ready for a wedding. Like, we don't mess around with those types of things. So we give ourselves the full amount of time, which would be 3 weeks for Daxxify.
There was a question earlier about how much in advance of a big event would you do not just Daxxify but also filler? And I would add even more time to what Melanie was saying, because it gives us time to make adjustments. So if you're going to a wedding, if it's your wedding, I would definitely recommend.
Even if you've been treated before, if it is your wedding, we want to play this so extra safe for you. Please give us plenty of time. Do us the favor so that we can make sure everything's perfect for your big day. If we've been treating you for a long time, we know your muscles and we're comfortable with you, then we would say give yourself 3 weeks so that it's fully kicked in so you can enjoy it. But if it's your first time having treatment, more than 3 weeks so that we can have time. We're going to undertreat. We're going to treat very gently and lightly in case we need to add any more. It's safer to go that route.
And I would also say from the treatment side, it's a sculpting process, particularly with RHA fillers and any filler in general. We want to sculpt appropriately. And like Melanie was just saying, you don't want to overfill someone. And yes, we have a question about, can RHA fillers be dissolved or adjusted? Yes, we have options to do that, but we would want plenty of runway to do that before your big day.
Yes. But if we're not worried about runway and big day, just to answer that question about can they be dissolved, just like traditional fillers we carry in our practice, they can. They are made of hyaluronic acid, which I think is something we mentioned in the video, but an important thing that makes RHA unique, I'll repeat it, is the hyaluronic acid. That's something that's natural in our skin. People don't have reaction to that because our bodies make hyaluronic acid. These chains are longer and more closely mimic our own natural hyaluronic acid. So it's kind of unique in how it gives its dynamic stretchability and movement in the face. We've really been pleased with it.
Okay.
I want to say something. So I loved my Daxxify treatment because I felt like it really helped like skin improvement. So I know that's something that we haven't really talked about. That is something with Daxxify is that it does give like little minor skin improvements just to like the surface level of my skin. So even like pore size, just the total appearance of my skin looked so much brighter, which I really, really liked.
And there are a lot of anecdotal data, people sharing that they have noticed that skin improvement, especially our really oily
especially in
T-zones.
this area.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I am not a scientist and I have not performed any studies, and that is my disclaimer. I wonder, and people, not just me, wonder if it has to do with the peptide. It was originally being studied, Daxxify was, as a topical product to replace Botox and Dysport. It wasn't as a topical product giving the results that they wanted it to, so they tried injecting it and they were blown away by the results of it lasting so much longer. That wasn't something that's not how it started out. It started out as a topical. So again, I have no basis for explaining that. I just know that we see it, and so there's something to be said about it. The skin does look better. People have visibly brighter, healthier skin in the areas we treated.
It makes sense. A lot of like our medical grade skincare products are made of peptides.
Yes,
so the fact that you're injecting a peptide under the skin and you would see brightening, it makes sense to me, even though I'm not a scientist either. But sounds good.
Sounds good. Is there any? Let's see. I'm sorry. I have an eye doctor, I swear. Well, somebody mentioned that this was helpful of doing Daxxify versus Dysport, and I appreciate that feedback because that was our goal. So thank you. I do want to make sure that we mention to everybody that you'll get a text reminder at the end of the event. Make sure that you reply. Oh, I'm going to have to scroll a little bit. Sorry. Reply with Empire to be contacted for a consultation. So just to reiterate our special that we are offering, if you were to purchase a syringe of filler, you would get 40 units of Daxxify. To let all of you know, that would be a traditional glabella area treatment. Again, you can't compare units to what you're typically used to. We'll go over that in the treatment room with you in the consultation. So one syringe, you get 40 units free. If you purchase 2 syringes, you get 80 units free, which would be generally an entire forehead treatment. We would ask that you book that consultation by next Friday so that we can honor that special pricing. You don't have to call us. Please don't call us tonight. Nobody's on the phone. But you can text us. We'll get back to you now that we have text feature available, or call us anytime in this next week so that we can book a consultation. And we will be doing our giveaway, but those individuals will be notified tomorrow via email. And it will be a forehead treatment. We'll evaluate the number of units you need when you come in, but you'll get your whole treatment free. And 2 separate syringes of filler. Unfortunately, they're not going to the same person, but 2 individuals will get a syringe of filler. But thank you everybody for tuning in. We were excited to put this together and hopefully teach you a little bit about something that we've been doing for several months and have been excited about. I was super blessed and excited to have been able to go to Nashville to do a training very specifically on Daxxify back in March. And it was a wonderful opportunity to be able to speak to providers that have been doing this treatment for much longer than me and learn from their experiences, come back and share it with the 2 of them who couldn't join me that trip. And we've just been having fun with Daxxify ever since.
And we're excited to try new things. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.
Bye.
Bye.